As we close out these sections or these videos on the cash flow quadrant, I think you're going to see a lot of the stuff we talked about in our previous videos and how it kind of fits right into this. And you'll see how you start to fall into that, you being on the left or right side. When we look at the left side of the quadrant, what we find is people on the left side of the quadrant use their own money when they're out there buying properties. What people on the left side of the quadrant do also is they use their own credit. And what people do on the left side of the quadrant is they use their own time. What they'll do is they'll manage their own properties. They will rehab their own properties. They'll do all the work. And what they end up doing is they create another job for themselves. They create another job for themselves. So many people watch those TV shows, Flip This House, Flip Your House, Flip My House, anybody's house, and they think, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to flip a house and I'm going to do all the work myself, so I'm going to save money. And what they end up doing is they create a second job for themselves, and they're not seeing their spouse and their kids because every minute that they're not at their normal 9-to-5 job, they're at the house that they're renovating, and they think they're actually creating financial freedom for themselves. They may be creating a little more discretionary income, but they're trading a lot of time to do so. So what do people on the right do? They use OPM, other people's money. They use OPC, other people's credit, and they use OPT, other people's time. You could say other people's effort, other people's energy, other people's expertise as well. Why do people do this? I think it's a very basic primal instinct. They really live their life trying to, avoid pain. They make decisions based on fear or lack of. Whereas people on the right look at things as an opportunity. People on the left use all of their time, effort, and energy trying to operate and work in a mentality of, I am scared. There's fear-based decision making. Whereas people on the right make their decisions based on the opportunity that's out there. And this comes directly from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He says people on the left constantly say, I can't afford it. That's right from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Whereas people on the right, they just change that a little bit and they say, how can I afford it? Left side versus right side. I can't afford it versus how can I afford it? Well, I think the biggest issue with those two statements is one is a question and one is a statement. When you ask yourself a question, now you have to figure out how to solve it. If I say a statement, I'm done. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And so when I started to get educated, I started asking myself, how can I afford it? How can I find a way to make it happen? No matter whether it was the education that I was doing or whether it was a property that I was going to buy, whether it was a deal I could put together, a joint venture partner that I could get, all these things started changing because I started asking the question, how can I? Why did I do that? I think it's actually pretty simple. It's because when I got educated years ago, what I really learned, it wasn't specific to real estate. It was the word hope. Because after I learned that you could actually do property with other people's money, you could do property with other people's credit, and you could create teams of people to use other people's time, I realized it didn't matter that I was working a ton of hours in a retail business. It didn't matter that I didn't have a lot of money. My credit score was good, but I was making a whopping $36,000 a year when I started to do real estate. My wife was a stay-at-home mom, so her income was nothing as far as from a ability to go out and get a mortgage. I don't care where you live. How many properties can you buy on an income of $36,000? Even if your credit score is 850, perfect. Great. You're not going to be able to get a lot of mortgages. Why? Because your debt to income ratio just doesn't work. So what I really learned when I started getting educated the right way there's some hope. And so when we look at this, I knew that there was hope, that there was a way to do this using other people's money, other people's time, and other people's credit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I look forward to seeing you on the path.